We're now beginning the second chapter of Micah. Micah began by mentioning that he was speaking to peoples. Hear peoples, all the words, and take heeds, earth, in verse 2 of chapter 1. And so it's continuing here. This period of time was probably when Ahaz was king, and Sennacherib came down and from Lachish and came against Judah, and Samaria was joining in against Jacob, and they actually, with Tiglath-Pileser, took 200,000 captives. And so it begins, Genomto logizomeni Kopus ke ergazomeni, and they came devising logizo, the logic, syllogism, English derivatives. They came devising kopus, troubles, and ergazomeni, ergonomics is the derivative. They came devising troubles and working kaka, evils, on their beds or in their beds, kites, their beds. We have coitus, euphemism for intercourse, on the beds. It comes from that. And together during the day they complete them. Now again, we're these purple or reddish highlighted words are the nouns. In this chapter I now highlighted the noun that has a article with it that agrees. An article always agrees with the noun. How do you know it's a noun? Well, a lot of times you can tell by the endings when you go into learning declensions of nouns, which we're really not going to go into because it's a little bit further past what we are teaching, before more of a grammar course in college, but at least if you know what a noun is. In this case here, we're pointing them out, and the article is modifying either a noun or an adjective, so you can figure that these words, when it has the noun, is one or the other. Could be a pronoun, but and so it goes on evils on their beds. Tes, kites, in is or in their bed, and it's talking about basically about nights. They're devising these things at night and together during the day. Ke ama ti imera sinatelun avta vioti uk iron proston theon tas hiras afton, and together during the day they complete them. For they lifted not their hands. Hiras, the chiropractor comes from that word. Hira, chiro, hands, to theon, God, 23:16. Theos, theon in the accusative, and God, theology comes from that. And they desired agrus, field, agriculture, derivative, and they plundered orphans, orphanus, ke epithimun, agrus, ke the pazon, orphanus, ke ikus, kata dinastavon, ke the pazon, andra keton, ikon of two, andra ketin, kleronomian of two. These people that came down into Judah, they came to the desired fields, and they plundered the orphans and tyrannized houses, and plundered a man, andra, android is a derivative, and man-like, and his house. A man and his inheritance. So there's tone, ikon. See the same spellings there. Tone, theon. Tas, hiras. And here teen, kleronomian. Now the in and mian are not the same spelling, but they are in the accusative right there, man and his inheritance. And it continues in verse 3. Διατούτο τάρι λέγει Κύριος, ιδού εγώ λογίζομαι επί την φίλην ταύτην κακά, εξον ουμή arite tus trachilus imon, ke umi porevthite orthi, otikaros poniros esten. On account of this, thus says legi, the leg, dialogue, prologue with the leg in them, derivatives. Thus says the Lord, behold, I, ego, I could have highlighted that one, the ego is English derivative. I devise, logizome, we had it before, against this phylline, a phylum is English derivative, a tribe, division of peoples, bad things, and of which in no way should you lift your necks. Trachilus, we have the trachea, the windpipe, it's an English derivative. So the Lord is going to devise bad things against these people, this tribe, and it's probably talking about the tribes of Israel. Could be the Assyrians. And in no way should you be able to go orthes, straight. Orthopedics, straight, and having to do with straightening the bones, and ortho, straight. For it is a wicked time, poniros, an evil time. It's different than earlier we had kaka up here, kaka, poniros. Kaka can be something that's bad, but it doesn't mean it's evil or wicked all the time. Many times it is. But poniros is more of a wickedness to them. They're both words, and they both sometimes, by the context, it's hard to figure out because they're different words, but they can almost have the same meaning. In verse 4 it continues, Enti imera ekini lifthison tate f imas paravoli, ke thrinithisate thrinos en meli, legon, taliporia et taliporisamen meris leumu, katametrithi in skinio, ke uk in o kolion afton, to apostrepse I agri imon, apostrepsi I. Then right here, I agri imon via merithisan. In that day, T imera, in is in the dative, means something that's going into, and we mentioned earlier in the articles we had the dative of T is in the feminine singular, and to is the masculine singular, and neuter, to. And here it's the T. In that day there shall be shaken up against you a parable, paravoli. It's a direct transliteration from the Greek in the English. And a lament shall be wailed in a strain, a melody is a word, English word that comes from that, saying, with misery we were miserable. The portion of my people was measured out with a measuring mind, the laity, and there was none restraining him to return. The peoples were taken, like we mentioned, 200,000 by the Israel, taking the captives from Judah. And now it should be I agree. The fields of yours were divided. I have your fields with a hyphen structure here, but the agri, agriculture, is a derivative. The fields of yours were divided, or your fields were divided. Viatuto uk este si vaulon skinion in kliro in ecclesia kyriou. On account of this, there will not be to you one putting or casting. Vaulon is a English derivative, ballistics derivative. One casting or putting a measuring line for a lot. The kliro, we have a cleric, as a clergyman that has been chosen by lot originally. For a lot in the ecclesia, the ecclesia, the church, in the Old Testament assembly of the Lord, Kyriou. Mi kleate da krisi, mi they da krietoson epitutis, ude gar apostate onidi. Weep not tears, nor burst into tears over these things. There's the emphasis with the exclamation point, with the klaite and the imperative. Do not weep, for he will not thrust away the scorn. It's going to happen. I think this is what he's talking about. It's going to happen, so there's no sense in weeping. And then it continues, O legon ikos Yaakov paror gese to pneuma Kyriou. Itavta epitithevmata avtu estin, uki elogiavtu kali met avtu ke orthi peporevn peporevte. It's hard for me to say that one. Sorry, a tongue twister in Greek. Okay, the one saying, the house of Jacob provoked to anger the Spirit of the Lord. People are always they have reasons why things have happened to them and attributing it to the Lord. The pneuma, pneumatics, has to do with air. The Spirit is a word that was chosen by the early translators and back in the English in the 1500s. The Spirit, the breath of the Lord, it could be. Are these not his practices? Doesn't he do these things? Are not his words good with him and straight going? Now, this is a little on the difficult side, because when you get into these prophecies, you start back with Moses had a prophecy, and then Deborah, all different prophetic places and sayings, and trying to figure them out is probably the most difficult thing for a translator, because you're really not sure exactly sometimes who's speaking and what it's about. And to go over these and to be dogmatic about it, that this is what it is something there's no way I could do that. Some people can write books on these and be dogmatic, but I have a hard time because of these prophetic speakings are sometimes are talking about things in the past, or things that are going on at the present, or things in the future, a condition that could be happening in the future, and they go back and forth. They have blessings and then they have curses, and it's hard to figure this all out. You have to really study it, and sometimes you don't even get it then, because they mention about the suffering Messiah, where it talks in the New Testament about how people of old looked at that, but nobody really saw it. They were waiting for a Messiah that was going to be glorious, which there are passages that do allude to that, but they missed the suffering Messiah. And so some of these things that Micah is saying, we have to really study it and pray, and hopefully we'll learn it and understand it. And it continues in verse 8 here. Ke emprosthen oleos mu is ekthron an testi katenanti tis erinis avtu tin thoran avtu exedioran to apheleste elpidus sintrimon polemu. And in former times, before, also in prosa, in former times, my people, o leos, are the people of mine, could be. There's the o and leos, the nominative. This is the subject of the sentence, with you see the o, omicron. As in former times, my people, or my people, and my people in former times, opposed for enmity against his peace. Irenes, Irene is an English derivative of name. It's used. Avtu tin thoran, his skin, the skin of his, they flayed. or his peace, I'm sorry, the peace of his skin, the skin of his, teen thoron. We have the accusative, the subject, the object of this verse. They flayed to remove hope of the conflict of war. So the people opposed peace to remove conflict of war. Sometimes we see that today in Israel as a nation, and a lot of people don't want to go to war. Even though the war clouds can be farming, people sometimes will do anything to keep from going to war. Sometimes I think of that Israel as all these people in this small country being surrounded by so many people that hate them today, and while they just don't give up and leave, but yet they have this being Jewish inside of them in their blood for all this periods of time, going through many tribulations, for many reasons, because God has warned them over and over again about leaving his precepts, and they did in many places through going through the wilderness with Moses and wanting to go back to Egypt, and on down to the 1930s and the 40s when they were persecuted by the Nazis in Germany. But yet the people had to suffer these wars and this affliction. But Micah continues here in verse 9, Igumeni leumu aporifisunte ekton ikon trifisafton, thia taponi ra epiti thevmata afton exosthisun, egisate orisin ionios. The ones leading my people shall be thrown from out of their luxurious houses. Tone, out of the houses of their luxury, would probably be a better translation. I may change that in the second edition. The ones leading shall be thrown out. These Ahaz during that period of time when the armies came down against Judah. Because of their wicked practices. Like we mentioned earlier, Ahaz had set up these altars on the roofs of the houses in Jerusalem and changed the way that sacrifices were offered, and had these wicked practices. Approach to everlasting mountains. So maybe he's talking about here maybe Sennacherib, Ionios, the Eon, Ionios, to everlasting. Many people would prefer me to have Eonial mountains rather than everlasting. Some people have a hard time with this time after everlasting, or is there an ending to it, or does it continue on and on and on? Some theologies, people see it as never ever being something that continues on and on and on, because the word is eonial, has to do with ages, and there's a lot to that, but I use this everlasting, Ionios, could be eternal mountains. Eternal was actually a Latin word for eonial. Verse 10, Anastathi ke porevu, oti uk esti si. Rise up and go, for there is not to you, avti anapavsis, this rest. Anakin akatharsias, the aphthar ite, phthora. Because of uncleanness, you were corrupted by corruption. And the uncleanness of the priesthood, not even being clean themselves and offering sacrifices that were unclean. That's probably what he was talking about. They were corrupted. And verse 11, Kata diok thete uthenos diokontes, pneuma estise psevdes, estalaxe si is enon ke is methisma, ke este ectis stagonos tu leu tutu. You were pursued by no one pursuing. So these people were, it mentions this in other places about how God cursed the people that didn't follow his precepts, and that he said that you were going to be afraid. You're going to be, you think you're being pursued, but there's actually nobody pursuing you. The blessing was that one Israelite would chase 10,000 of the enemy, and the opposite is in this case here. You were pursued by no one pursuing. Your pneuma, spirit, I added the your. Pneuma, established lying. Spirit, established lying. With yours as being understood in the context, and again the pneuma, pneumatics. Lying, psevdes, false. Psevdes. Estalaxe si, it trickled you with wine, and for strong drink, methisma. Methisma is the methyl alcohol. Meth has to do with alcohol. And it will be from the stagonos of this people, and it will be from the drop of this people. Just a little bit of what these people are going to do is going to cause Judah to reel, and because of the Israel coming down against Ahaz. Tes stagonos, from the drop of this people. In verse 12 it continues, Synagomenos, synakthesete Yaakov, sin passing ekthechomenos, ekthexome tus katalipus tu Israel. Epitoavto thesome tin apostrophin avton os provata in thalipsi os pimnion in mesokitis avton exalunte ex anthropon. And now he says the gathering of the remnant. So now he's changing. It was earlier was all how this the Judah was going to be attacked, and now he's changing, like many of these prophets. It goes back and forth, and the curses and the blessings and the curses. In being gathered, Jacob shall be brought together. Well, they actually they were brought back by the prophet Oded, and from Israel, where they took a couple 100,000 captives. Withal. In looking out, I shall look out for the remnants. This should be plural. As error there, my fault. Of Israel. Together I will establish their return. Teen apostrophin. There you can see the ita ni in both of those. I will establish their return. Accusative in the object. Of their, I will establish the return of them. Again, I could have went either direction. I chose this. I will establish their return as sheep in affliction. And so he's going to do it, but they're going to be in straits. As a flock in the midst, Mesopotamia, middle of the river. The mesoderm, the middle skin. The English derivatives of their fold. They leap out because of men, anthropon, anthropology. In verse 13 it continues, Anavithi diatis diakopis pro prosopu avton, diakopson ke diolthon pilin, ke axiolthon diaptis, ke axiolthon vasilevs avton pro prosopu avton, o de kyrios igisate avton. Ascend through the breach, the diakopis, tis diakopis, and right there you can see the agreement in the genitive. Before, in front of them, or before their face, the face of them before their face. they cut through and went through the gate and came forth through it. And their king went forth before in front of them, and the Lord shall lead them. Now, this last sentence or this phrase of the sentence, the Lord shall lead them, and then their king went forth before in front of them. This could be a time in the future. Could be he's referring to King Hezekiah, and where this army of Sennacherib came down against Jerusalem, and I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to here, but the Lord shall lead them. Could be in a future time of an army and coming through. Don't know. Speculation can give all kinds, but I guess we'll find out. And we will continue with this interesting prophet and his words in the next chapter 3. I hope you'll join us. Goodbye.